was the middle of the night. My sister called me and was like, Mom just had a stroke.
Every day brings new life when I'm by your side, when I'm by your side. You will never fail me, you will never fail me.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, my name is Trey.
Myley.
Today we're gonna do a little story time for you. I've been seeing in the comments people want story times, and this is an interesting one that's really important in my life, affected my life and my life too. Before we get into it though, make sure you subscribe. You can hit our little logo somewhere in this corner, or you can hit the normal subscribe button. Okay, so we're just gonna get right into the story time. It's about my mom and her stroke that she had 3 years ago. I believe it was 3 years ago.
Yeah, 2016.
Right, so.
In June of 2016, we flew out to St. Louis. We were living in Utah while Trey was playing college in Utah, but he's from St. Louis, so his family lived in St. Louis. Oh, he's wearing his shirt, okay. So we flew out to St. Louis in June to visit his family, go to his sister's baby shower, just hang out for a couple weeks. Yeah, we went to Six Flags, which is like a really fun thing we were able to do with his mom and everything. Because, yeah, we went and stayed at his mom's house in St. Louis. She was on at-home dialysis at the time because she has always had kidney disease, high blood pressure, which caused the kidney disease, which is just hereditary in their family.
I don't know if it's hereditary because I don't got it.
So while we were out there, having our normal day-to-day stuff and going to Six Flags that day with her and all that, she had brought up that her blood pressure medication was giving her like weird side effects like nausea and headaches and stuff. So she just wasn't taking it.
Which is, I should have been better and told her, we should have looked more into it. We were getting on roller coaster and stuff. She was complaining about how like her head was really hurting. I just didn't really think too much of it. Like, she's just having headaches. Like, we didn't think too much about that. So a few days later, with us getting back to Utah, it was the middle of the night, and my little sister called me.
On June 3rd, 2016.
Right. My sister called me and was like, Mom just had a stroke. I'm like, what? What you mean she just had a stroke? Like, so as my sister was calling me, the ambulance and everybody were there. And she's like, yeah, so we're headed to the hospital right now. We don't know much. Like, Takia, my older sister, Takia, found her on the ground in the kitchen. I'm miles away in Utah, just up, like worried, like what's going on. Like, I don't know much, so my sister said, I'll call you back once we get to the hospital.
Trey's mom's mom, so Trey's grandma, had a stroke. Pretty young too, I guess we should mention that too. When this happened, his mom was still in her 30s. And his grandma also had a stroke young, and it kind of was life-changing. Severe stroke. Just assuring him, like, it's not gonna be like a severe one like that. Like, she's gonna be fine, don't worry. And we were just trying to like, stay calm. I mean, it's all I could say. All we could do was just hope that it wasn't like that. And I was just trying to show him, like, don't just automatically think that it's bad like your Nana is like, she's gonna be fine. This is gonna be a minor thing. Once they get to the hospital, we find out like the hospital she's at, like they don't
have neurologists on site.
Yeah, they don't have anything there
to help her.
They kind of do anything. And the hospital that didn't have any availability. They didn't have any rooms, beds to transfer her there to go see the neurologist. She obviously needed surgery, needed to do something. But we were just waiting, which I'm sure time is a huge factor. So it's crazy that it ended up like that. That she was on priority to immediately get taken from the ambulance to the correct hospital. And yeah, so we're waiting for her to actually get
seen by the doctors who can really help her.
So it just seemed like forever that I waiting until we knew she was at the hospital, seen by a neurologist, and what was going to happen.
So my older sister, I forget what sister called me when they got to the hospital, so I could hear the doctor talk since I wasn't there with them. I was in Utah, and they put me on speaker. The doctor came into the room, and I heard him say something, like, but I couldn't make it out. And my older sister just started crying. You know, so I didn't know what the doctor said. I didn't know anything. All I heard was her just crying. And so then
she was just like screaming,
Right.
like wailing, just like no, 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 like
Right.
just really freaking out.
So I'm panicked, like, what the frick did he just say? Like, what did he come in the room and say? Like, somebody tell me something. The kid, like, come back to the phone. Like, anybody, somebody come back to the phone. What did he say? What did he say? I believe my older sister came back to the phone and was like, the doctor said she's probably not gonna make it, but if she does, she's gonna have severe brain damage. And I remember just launching my phone. I just threw it. I threw it at our wall, our closet door. I threw it at the closet door, and it shattered. So now I don't have a phone to contact him
Yeah,
now.
his phone like on speaker while
Right.
talking to them, and he just chucked it across the room. And I immediately got like Trey, and like went across, like we don't know what's going on. I pick up his phone and like it's shattered, like won't even turn on, it's broken.
Just like I didn't know what to do in that moment. Like
It's definitely like
I just
that. Those first few minutes, like that's the most like just erratic and just like mad I've ever seen. Like the most emotion I've ever seen on Trey ever. Like he was just really losing it.
here in Utah, everyone's in St. Louis going through this, and you're telling me that I could lose my mom and I'm all the way. I was just with her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I just didn't know how to handle that. So like I just reacted.
And I think we weren't expecting
Right.
that before. We were trying to keep the spirits like it was just, yes, she had the stroke, but it wasn't on our mind that the stroke was about to kill her. She was about to die tonight. That wasn't on our mind until that doctor said that. Like it hadn't crossed us that he was about to lose his mom, and then it was like, wait, what?
Right.
And it was just devastating and really frustrating that we weren't there and just couldn't do anything. And it was just like, it just felt so surreal that this was really happening, that his mom was about to die.
Now we're frantically trying to find flights, and we find another flight that leaves, I think it was an hour later or something.
I dropped Trey off the airport and then went right down to my parents' house, and I stayed at my parents' house.
And at this time, we have Naya at this time. If you guys, like Naya's a little baby, like 7 months, I believe. So yeah, I leave Myley and Naya, and I go to St. Louis. Like I wasn't worried about nothing. I wasn't worried about football. I wasn't worried about school. I didn't care about nothing. Like I had to get back to St. Louis to be with my mom. So I get to St. Louis. My mom's already in the ICU at this time, which if you guys don't know is intensive care unit. She's there, and I remember the first time, cause you gotta think, I saw my mom
Just a few days
ago, and she was at Six Flags. We were kicking, having a good time. The next time I saw her, like the very next time I saw her, she was in the ICU in a coma. Like she was out. They had all these things hooked up to her to monitor her. She couldn't breathe on her own, so they had to put a trach in. It's a rough sight to see.
She had severe swelling.
So her like this side of her left, I believe maybe her right side actually. I don't know, but it was like swollen out really bad. And it was hard to see her like that. It really was. It was just, I don't even know how to put it into words, man, but it was hard. It was hard to see her like that. But so as I'm at the ICU, there were my sisters, and we have a little brother at the time, but he's young. You know, we didn't want him at the hospital seeing mom like that. Like we didn't know what that could do for him. Like, you know what I'm saying? We didn't want him to see that. He was a little kid, right? And we didn't want him to have those images. So we didn't bring him to the hospital. It was just me and my sisters, and we were there. The doctor came out, and we had to make a life decision for our mom. I think I'm shaking talking about it. He came out and was like, so swelling's not going down. We need to make a decision. We need to either we can try this new technique that we're trying out where we don't have to cut the whole side of her skull off, or we can just like drill a hole and like stick something in there, like try to drain the blood. And he's like, it's a chance it could work, or it's a chance it can make it worse. And I'm like, you ain't never did this before. Like I don't want. So at the time, it's like you ain't did it before. This is a new technique. Like I didn't want to risk making it worse. So we go in there, and I remember this like it was like we go in, we ask, let's ask our mom. Like let's ask her. So we asked her. We was like, Mom, the doctor's here, and he's saying like they want to try this surgery on you. They haven't done it before. Like it'll be a new surgery. Like, do you want to get the new surgery, or do you just want to like wait this out? And remember, she's out. She hasn't moved at all. She's like in a coma, like gone in a coma. And when we asked her that question, my sister's like, squeeze my hand if you don't want the surgery. And she squeezed her hand. She hadn't done anything up to that point. So we took that as like, that's our answer. Like, she doesn't want it. So we told him no. We're gonna wait it out and see. So we're waiting, and like I don't go home. Like we don't leave the ICU room. Like they got a waiting room there with a couple like pull out beds, whatever. Me and my sisters, we stayed there every single day. We didn't leave. I know this is gonna sound real nasty, but we didn't leave to go shower. Like we didn't leave. We wanted to be there just in case anything happened. Like we wanted to be there. And the doctor comes back and is like, we gotta do something. Like it's not getting better. And he's like, we have to do, it's called a craniotomy. Craniotomy.
They have to do a craniotomy.
Right, that word. So in which, for people who don't know, that's where they had to cut half her skull out and remove it. So, because her brain was swelling so bad that it was pressing up against her skull, right? So they had to cut that side out to remove it. Can you imagine seeing your mom or just like imagine this, like this side of her head sunken in, like it's just nothing there. Like it's such a hard image, but man, I'm shaking and stuff. Oh, seeing that, like it messes with you, man. And I didn't want that for my little brother. Like I don't want him to know what that looked like. Me and my sister, I felt we were old enough to where we could handle it, but it's an image, man. It's a hard image to see, but they did that, and they put a drain in her head to help trying to drain the fluid. At the time, Myley's still in Utah, and I was contacting her through my mom's phone or sister's phone, whoever phone I can use, because I had broke my phone. I need to get a new one, but I'm not leaving this hospital to go get a new one. Like, so it's like Myley's just there, not really knowing too much, not knowing what the next move is, not really knowing, does she need to fly out to St. Louis? Do she stay? Like,
I think my only thing was that it was hard not being out there because, I don't know, when you talk to me and I would be like, well, did you ask the doctor this, and this? Did you tell them, like, if this was your mother, like, what would you do? Like, ask more and more questions. And they always, like, didn't have these answers because, I mean, they're more in the shock and, like, than I was. Even though it was really hurting me, I was like, I wish that I could be the outside of their person. I was just advocating and talking to the doctors and, like, getting all the details of everything. And so that was frustrating to be so far away and trying to just like be there for Trey, but like wishing I could actually help. I looked back as we were trying to get like dates and kind of time frames for this, because I mean it's been 3 years. So 7 days after the stroke, no, it's June 10th. So me and Trey were supposed to be getting married in that August. So this is the beginning of June. We're supposed to be getting married in Utah in August. And so, I mean, that first like few days after a stroke, I didn't really want to be like focused and like thinking like, but we had to kind of at the same time make a decision on the wedding of like, okay, so what are we doing? Right. Are we still gonna try to have a wedding without like, well, Trey's mom is, who knows what's gonna happen, or I hope. And
that was not.
It just happened.
Like, it was no way I was gonna get married and my mom was not gonna do it.
So I mean, I posted to my family and said, this is 7 days after the stroke, so June 10th, said, officially postponing mine and Trey's wedding. August will still be too soon for Trey and his family. Even if his mom can never make it out here, we at least need to wait and have it a time where we can do a reception here and in St. Louis. Yeah, so at that point, I think I thought she probably was most likely never really going to be flying out to Utah again. We were just focusing on like her living at that time, you know, and so it was just like, yeah, there's no way like this wedding's not happening right now. We'll eventually do it when she's in okay enough health, if we have to go visit her at the hospital during our reception or what, but it's not going to be anytime soon. Like, so then I responded, because then my family members responded back to that saying like, oh, I'm so sorry, like how is she doing now? And I said, she hasn't made any drastic improvements, but she is slowly becoming more conscious and aware. She's starting to open her eyes more and breathing on her own a little bit better. Most of the fluid is drained out of her brain now. Although the swelling in her brain has went down a lot, it still has ways to go. And they have monitors on her brains. They won't put the piece of her skull back until August, which is crazy. They are hoping to move her out of the ICU by the end of the week. They are just wanting her to breathe completely on her own and wake up more first.
Right. They would because you can cover the trach and so it's not working. So they would do that and see how could she breathe on her own. Like they would give her like, see, can she sustain breathing? Like how much oxygen she getting?
Let her breathe for a couple minutes.
And see how was she doing.
At this point, she still wasn't like communicating whatsoever. No. It's just sometimes her eyes would flutter open for a little bit. And that's about it. She was just a little bit more conscious, but she wasn't talking, communicating, or like really there.
So I have been out there for now maybe 2 weeks now. I'm not even sure how long I stayed, honestly, but I think it's been about 2 weeks now. And she was more aware, and so we gave her a notebook so she could write like what she was thinking because she couldn't talk. So the first thing she wrote to us was, we were trying to make out the words, but it was, "Where is Tavion?" Tavion's my little brother. And that was a big, big moment, you know what I'm saying? Because she hasn't communicated for 2.5, maybe 3 weeks, whatever it's been. Like she hasn't said anything to us, like written or nothing. So we were ecstatic about that. Like, okay, here we go, we got something. We just needed anything to cling on to at this time. We just needed anything. So we tell her like, hey, we didn't want him up here to see you in a hospital like this. This, that, like we explained that to her. Who knows that she really understood what we were telling her, because she didn't like respond to it or nothing. Like she didn't write okay or she didn't say nothing. You know, she just kind of, she wrote that and just like sat back and just kind of like dozed off again. Went to a day. Did I call you and tell you she said that?
I was out at the store with my sister and I remember getting the call from you to say that she had just wrote, "Where's Tavion?" And it just was...
It was a big moment.
Crazy. It was like
a big moment for me.
It was very different from all the other updates I had gotten from you, where I was like, whoa, this is happening actually faster than I thought. Like, I thought she wasn't gonna be able to communicate. Yeah. For a long time, if ever, maybe like we just had no idea.
We had no idea what to expect. So
then it was all of a sudden like, well, like she's there, like she's understanding what's going on. Okay, so while Trey was out there, then at this point, he's like texting me, saying like he needs to like find a new school for football. Like he's not going back to Utah. Like he has to stay out there with his mom, and he's trying to look into what schools he can transfer to. And letting his coaches know, like, like help me transfer to a school out here in St. Louis because I'm not going back to you.
I called my head coach, Jay Hill. I called him. I was like, "Hey man, my mom had a stroke. Like I'm not coming back. Like I'm leaving. I'm not coming back to the school. Like I need my transfer papers. Like I'm gonna find a school out here. If I gotta walk on, I'll walk on." And he was like, "No, like take your time out there, but we're not gonna transfer. You're not leaving." And I talked to my sister Takia, and I was like, "Takia, like I'm done." Like I was like, "Well, if I can't leave, and they won't let me transfer, then I'll just stop playing football." Like I felt like I'm done playing football. Like I'm done. Like I'm standing here with my mom, I'm not leaving my mom. Like I'm not leaving her again. Like the last time I left her, this happened. I'm not leaving her again. And my sister, I get the shield, but she moved. My sister, Takia, she's like, "No, Trey, I left school. You're not gonna do that. You're not gonna do what I did. She told me, you're going back to school. You're gonna finish. You're gonna finish this. You're gonna keep playing football. Do it for mom now." So I'm crying, man, because I don't want to leave back out to Utah. Like, I really didn't. Like, I didn't. I'm about to cry. I did not want to leave her. Like, I did not want to leave my mom, man. So I called my coach, and I was like, he called me, actually. He's like, "Whenever you want to come back, we'll buy your flight. Like, don't worry, we'll pay for your flight." Which I don't know if that's against NCAA rules. And I was like, all right, I don't know when I'm coming back though. So I decided like 3 weeks passed. I was like, okay, it's time for me to get back. Football's about to start. It's my senior season. Let me go out here and play for my mom then. So when I was leaving, she was more stable, still in the ICU, but more stable. Like we knew she was gonna leave the ICU soon. We just didn't know when. So I fly back to Utah. It was maybe a week later or 5 days, something, she gets moved out of the ICU, which that made me feel so much better with being in Utah, with her not being in an intensive care unit. Like, that made me feel so much better. So they move her up, I forget to what floor it's called, but they move her out of there. So she didn't have any, like, they took like the brain monitors off of her, but then her brain was still like draining fluid, but the reason they moved her, the fluid was getting more clear and it wasn't bloody. So they felt comfortable with moving her. So yeah, so they moved her out the room, the ICU room, and she's up there with her trachea and everything. She's more conscious now. When I say more conscious, still not talking really. Like she's trying to talk, like, but it's like gurgly, you know. So she can't really talk. And one day, my sister texted me or called me and was like, "Mom ripped out her trach, like just herself ripped it out." And I'm like, "What the like?" So now, like, why would she do that? Like, why would she rip the trach out? Like, that's helping her breathe. So, like, now there's, from what my sister described it, because again, I'm not there. There was blood everywhere. Like, it was so a bloody mess. The nurses running in there, it seemed hectic. But that helped her to start breathing on her own. Crazy as this sound, like when she ripped out that trach, she no longer needed it. She started breathing on her own, and it's the craziest thing. Like that's what it took. Like who knows how long that trach would have stayed in? Like who knows? But she decided like I've had enough of it. Yeah. Ripped it out. And
then that was kind of a turning point because then she could try to talk better. Then she started communicating. Yeah. Because she could breathe on her own and she didn't have trach in, so she was able to form words. And talk.
They talk not like full sentences.
Still not normal. She still was like very odd.
Like still very odd, but kind of same word. Like, you know what I'm saying? We kind of get what you're trying to say now. Like, and it was big. Like, I'm telling you, like, we clung to anything we could about like her recovering. Like, we didn't care if it was she opened her eyes. Yes, she opened her eyes. Oh, she wrote something. Yes, she wrote. Like, we were just so happy that when she did anything.
So now we're in August, and they put her skull. She has another surgery to put her skull
piece back in.
Yeah, her skull back together. So August comes. The stroke was June 3rd. Now, beginning or like first week of August, they put her skull back together. That whole time she just was sunken in on the one side, missing all these pieces of her skull. So they put her skull back together. Right. And so then that was like a big thing of like, okay, so now everything is kind of ready for her to go home. Which I feel like I was still kind of scared for her to go home because it seemed like she still was like, I don't know, so just not ready. Like she just wasn't there yet. So much different than what she was when she first got there. Right. But obviously very different from before the stroke, where it was like scary. But lucky enough, on August 18th, I said to my family, Trey's mom is home. She's doing great and finishing her rehab from home now. Thank you for all your prayers. Okay, so she comes home from the hospital, and I mean, first thing is kind of learning how to talk again, and she eventually is able to just.
Yeah, she did that without going to any like speech therapy or anything. She did it on her own. Like she never signed up for speech therapists, like therapy. And people are surprised to hear her talk. Like, what do you mean? Like, she just never did. But she's doing physical stuff, like physical rehab and therapy at home, because she does have left side paralysis.
3 years later, still does. She's bound to a wheelchair. She is able to walk, but just differently because that side is paralyzed. So it's swinging her leg around, instead of walking. Yeah, but I mean, she's figured out how to do everything.
She's getting better. Every day is a new day for her to fight and get better, and she's fighting. But one thing I say, she ain't quit. She hasn't quit. Like, she is still fighting. And like when she goes and we take her to do these different therapies and like visit with doctors, they're surprised by how strong she is. She can do, because she does pretty much everything by herself now. She cooks for herself, does her own laundry. Gets herself dressed, takes her own shower. Like she does. All I do for her is I just drive her places. That's it.
Like when I took her to physical therapy, and I had to like keep telling them when they're like hovering over her, and like we don't help her walk at home. Like she walks. It's been 3 years now, and like she's never felt like she does her own. Like she's independent. I don't get her dressed. Like I don't do none of that. She does. And yeah, so I mean, she lives with us. So yeah, so. When she left the hospital, she lived with Trey's sister, and then in St. Louis, and then moved to Utah, and then back to St. Louis with his other sister, and then Texas with his sister, and now she is here with us. Because we would have taken her, I think, originally, but with us moving all around with football too, we were the only person that wasn't. Right.
So the end goal was always to have her with me until she felt like she was comfortable being on her own, like completely. that was always the end goal. It just with football, the NFL, it's kind of like
Right.
it's hard. Like it's hard enough doing it with Myley and the 2 kids. Like so.
But at this point, I think we've just made the decision of like, well, whatever, that it's hard that we might move to another state. Like, it's okay. Like we can handle it. Just come with us. So things that I would like. I mean, I'm hoping one that we can maybe help people who've had family members that, whether it's an actual stroke or other medical issues or TBIs, any other brain injuries, that we can kind of all be a support system together and just help. And then to how serious you need to take high blood pressure.
Your health in general, man.
I think that's the biggest thing we learned from this is how badly we should have. Like when we were just thinking it's crazy because we're so strict. Like Trey gets on his mom all the time. I'm so strict to like, no, you can only eat this to keep your high blood pressure down. It's like we do not want to have another stroke to happen. Like we're so on top of things now. And it's just crazy that before, like those weeks of knowing she wasn't taking her blood pressure, we weren't like, well, what is your blood pressure like? And getting after her. So seriously, take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones. Like these things are serious. Like really take your health seriously.
We hope to one day open a stroke like foundation because it has affected my life. You know what I'm saying? It's a big part of my life. So I do want to open it and to give back to those and to help those who are struggling with it because there's a lot to go through, man. If you don't have a good support system, you kind of feel like you're lost and you have nobody to talk to. So those things, like I want to do that because that's bigger than me. Like I want to help other people. If you know anyone in your family that's been affected by strokes and you need someone to talk to, reach out to me. On my social medias, DM me. I always answer back to those type of DMs. I'm always here to talk to people if they need help. I'm here to talk to people if they need help. Cause we know it's tough, man. It's a tough thing to go through. Okay. Long video. I appreciate you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. We appreciate your support.
This is our most down and serious, but we do have some other, more upbeat, wholesome, regular videos. Some with his mom and about just of our family. So
so check it out. But I feel like this was something that I need to say that I think people need to hear. And because if you're gonna follow us and be subscribed to it, that's a big part of my life, and I'm sharing my life with you guys. So I can't hold that part out, because that's a big part of it.
Yeah. Well, take care of yourselves, take care of others, treat people with kindness.
Your health is important.
Every day brings new life when I'm by your side.